This is a story I lived, a story etched into my bones. My name is Emily, and for 2 years, my world was Jacob. He wasn't just my partner, he was my sanctuary, the man who made me believe in the kind of love that legends are written about. Our future was a shared vision, a brilliant blueprint we were drafting with every whispered dream and intertwined finger. But even the most perfect blueprints can hide a fatal flaw in their foundation, a silent, spreading crack that threatens the entire structure. It was a person. Her name was Sharon. To the untrained eye, Sharon is the epitome of polished elegance, a woman who seems to have been curated rather than born, her beauty as crisp and cold as the vintage champagne she so effortlessly embodies. But I felt the truth the moment I met her. Her handshake was a calculated pressure, her smile never quite reaching her eyes, which performed a slow, invasive inventory of my being. "Lovely earrings, Emily," she had said, her voice a silken murmur. That deliberate pause, that hanging everyone, became the first thread in a web of subtle poison, a ghost that would haunt every family dinner, every holiday, every moment of quiet happiness. The initial assaults were masterclasses in psychological warfare. So insidious, I often questioned my own perception. They were not blows, but pinpricks designed to bleed my confidence slowly. Then the introductions of a ghost, Olivia, Jacob's ex, the daughter of Sharon's oldest friend. She began to orchestrate coincidences, accidentally leaving a specific photo album open on the coffee table during my visits, its pages a shrine to Jacob and Olivia's past, a golden couple frozen in time. The landscape of our relationship shifted seismically the moment Jacob and I began to speak in earnest about a shared future, a shared apartment, a ring, a life built on our own terms. It was as if we had tripped a silent alarm in Sharon's meticulously controlled world. The subtle campaign escalated into a war of attrition. She began a quiet, persistent narrative, seeding doubts in Jacob's mind about my influence. The most chilling escalation was a late-night phone call, her voice a fragile, tear-streaked whisper, claiming a dangerous spike in her blood pressure brought on by the unbearable stress of our constant, tumultuous arguments. And Jacob, my rock, my confident, brilliant Jacob, who commanded boardrooms with an iron will, transformed in his mother's presence. He became a ghost of himself, a man melting before my very eyes. I fought for us with every weapon I thought honorable. The final act unfolded on the stage of her birthday party. Her home, a monument to tasteful excess, was filled with the low hum of polite conversation and the glint of crystal. "Emily, dear, would you be a darling and help me with the tea service in the lounge?" Her smile was a shard of ice. The evening was a masterfully directed play, and I was the unwelcome understudy. After a dinner that tasted of ash, Sharon placed a cool, possessive hand on my arm. That moment encapsulated the tension between us, where the facade of civility masked the underlying conflict. The room buzzed with laughter, but beneath the surface, I felt an impending confrontation drawing closer. Each clink of glass seemed to resonate with the stakes of my unspoken battle. It was time to confront the truth that had long been lurking beneath the surface. With bated breath, I gathered my thoughts, ready to fight for the love that was worth saving. In that instant, I knew I had to reclaim my narrative from the shadows that had threatened to consume us. Every word was a step towards liberation from the grip of manipulation that had bound us for too long. As I stood my ground, I could see the flicker of realization dawn on Jacob's face, signaling a turning point in our battle. With every word I spoke, I shed the layers of doubt that had been woven around me, emboldened by the love we fought to protect. In that moment, the power dynamics shifted, and I felt a renewed sense of strength surging within me. No longer would I allow Sharon's shadow to dictate our happiness. We were ready to forge our own path. Together, we would confront the past and dismantle the barriers that had kept us apart. Jacob's words hung in the air, a declaration of our united front against the doubts that had plagued us. As the atmosphere thickened with uncertainty, I felt more resolute than ever to advocate for our love. In that instant, bolstered by each other, we were ready to challenge Sharon's hold over our lives. Jacob's declaration echoed through the room, shattering the silence and reclaiming our narrative in the face of adversity. Together, we stood unyielding, ready to dismantle the barriers that had long kept us apart. With every word Jacob spoke, I felt the remnants of fear dissolving, replaced by a fierce resolve to uphold our love. Sharon's facade began to crack under the weight of our united front, revealing the vulnerabilities she had hidden so well. As I stood there, I knew that this was the moment we had both been waiting for, where love triumphed over manipulation. In this moment of truth, the weight of our struggles began to lift, replaced by a shared determination to redefine our future together. Together, we embraced the strength found in our love, ready to rewrite our story, free from the shadows of the past. With each word exchanged, we dismantled the unhealthy dependencies that had suffocated us for too long. In the stark, silent expanse of her sterile kitchen, far from the protective gaze of the other guests, she turned. The social veneer evaporated, revealing the ruthless architect beneath. "You know, Emily," she began, her voice a confidential, venomous whisper, "I feel I must thank you. You have been a most entertaining diversion for my son these past couple of years." She let the word diversion hang in the air, toxic and degrading. "But a girl of your background must understand how these things work. This was never meant to be permanent. He's a man with certain needs, and you were conveniently there to fulfill them. He will, of course, settle down with a woman from the appropriate circles, a woman of pedigree and purpose. A woman, my dear, like Olivia?" A profound coldness seized me, starting deep in my core and spreading outwards until my very fingertips felt numb. It wasn't the hot rush of anger or the sting of humiliation. It was the absolute chilling clarity of truth. In that moment, the entire intricate web was laid bare. This was not merely a difficult mother. She was a master puppeteer, and the strings attached to her son were not of love, but of control, woven from guilt and a twisted sense of destiny. He was not just weak, he was complicit, a willing participant in this charade. I walked out of the kitchen, my composure a suit of armor forged in that very moment. I moved through the crowd, a specter at the feast, their laughter and chatter fading into a meaningless drone. I found Jacob, the center of a small circle, his laugh echoing in the room. I touched his arm. The laughter died on his lips as he saw the finality in my eyes. "We need to talk." "Now," I said, my voice a low, steady command that brooked no argument. We stepped out into the cool, manicured silence of the garden. The scent of night-blooming jasmine was cloying, suffocating. "What is it? What did she do now?" he asked, his tone already weary, already resigned to managing another of my crises. I looked into his eyes, the eyes I had loved so desperately, the eyes I had believed could see into my soul. And I saw only a reflection of his mother's will. He was not the man I had fallen in love with. He was her son, first and always. "It's over, Jacob. I'm leaving." He stared dumbfounded. He had prepared for tears, for a heated argument, for an emotional storm he could weather and then soothe. He was utterly unprepared for this calm, absolute termination. "Why, Emily, for God's sake, why? Is this because of some stupid thing my mother said?" "No," I replied, the words falling like stones into the still night. "It's over because I will not spend my life fighting a shadow war for a man who should be my fortress, not my battlefield. It's over because your mother weaponized our relationship and you stood by as an armchair critic offering me apologies instead of protection. I will not love someone who requires me to surrender my self-respect as a token of affection." Yea, he began to speak, to construct another fragile fortress of excuses, but I was already turning my back. The war was over. I walked back into the opulent lion's den. A palpable hush had fallen, every eye upon me. I walked directly to Sharon, who stood regally by the fireplace, a crystal flute in her hand, a look of smug, victorious certainty etched on her perfect features. I stopped before her. I did not glare. I did not frown. Instead, I gave her a small, serene, and utterly terrifying smile. I leaned in close, my voice a low, carrying whisper that cut through the tense silence like a scalpel. "Congratulations, Sharon. The game is yours. I sincerely hope your son and your impeccably curated Olivia find a lifetime of joy within these pristine gilded walls." I held her gaze, allowing her to see the absolute, unshakable peace in my own. "And now," I added, the words clear, final, and devastatingly polite, "do the world a favor and go to hell." I turned and walked away, my footsteps echoing on the marble floor. I did not look back. There were no tears, no backward glances, only a vast, expanding sense of liberation. I had finally learned the most powerful lesson of all, that the greatest act of love is sometimes a ruthless act of letting go. It is the courage to walk away from a war you never enlisted in, even when the cost is the person you cherished most. For a love that is true should be a sanctuary, not a sacrifice of your own soul. And my soul at long last was my own again.